It's been pretty astounding to see and learn the history, but with this lawsuit underway, I'm sure there's more to be learned.
As fire investigators try to find out what started this off-road vehicle fire that badly burned a young girl in Utah County, a local attorney says it looks familiar. Well, this ORV burst into flames Sunday in American Fork Canyon, sending 3 family members to the hospital. News specialist Jed Bull is live in Salt Lake City tonight with a possible new twist to the story. Jed?
Dave, as the investigation gets started, the Lone Peak Fire Chief tells me he cannot yet confirm whether this is a Polaris ORV known as a Razor, because the investigation is just getting started. But a local attorney tells me it looks an awful lot like this Polaris that he has pictures of other shells of. He fears that it's the same machine that he filed a lawsuit over last week.
It struck home because of the work we've been doing.
When Eric Olson saw the news a 6-year-old had been badly burned in an ORV fire, he immediately suspected some model of the Polaris RZR, also known as Razor.
But it was a similar situation.
Just last week, he filed a lawsuit against Polaris
Because a Razor caught fire and severely burned our client.
on much of his body while they were four-wheeling in Idaho. That client racked up $1 million in medical bills.
And they seem to happen in a similar fashion. Sometimes people will be driving along and they start on fire.
He's found Polaris Razor fires dating back 7 or 8 years,
More recently, they have finally started to recall these.
including a recall on the Razor Turbo just yesterday. He's discovered 160 fires, 19 injuries, and 1 death reported to Polaris related to Razor and Ranger fires.
It reminds us of what we went through.
B.J. Holdridge's daughter, Bailey, was that 1 death. The Utah County teen was burned on a Polaris Razor a year ago and succumbed to her burns several months later. The family set up the Be Brave Bailey Foundation to raise money and help support other burn victims.
And it just reminds us of how much we miss her and how much we love her.
Holdridge is grateful for the recalls.
As the recall states, please don't operate those vehicles until they've been taken care of.
In an email this afternoon, Polaris told me that they were just starting their investigation of this incident as well and didn't have a lot of information, but that their hearts and prayers went out to the family of that girl who was burned. In April, they recalled more than 100,000 of their ORVs. If you think that you have one that may be on that list, be sure to check their website and find out what you need to do about that recall. Dave?
Jed Bull live on a hillside in Salt Lake City. Thank you, Jed.